Hey y'all, hi. So here's the deal. I really thought that I would have had my baby by now. I am like days past the due date. It's like looking back into the middle distance, I can barely see her. So Joe and I have entered this kind of liminal dream space where we are trying to accomplish tasks that still need to be accomplished, but we're also trying to kind of make space for the fact that this big transition's happening, but you know, it's not happening yet. And in the meantime, it occurs to me that we could use another video for the channel. I didn't think I would be filming this week again, partly because I didn't have a plan and also because of the weird liminal dream state. I just couldn't think of anything. And there's this PR that has come, like stuff still in its boxes because I thought that I wasn't going to be able to unpack it and feature it for the next month or two. So I was like, why don't I just put on makeup and hang out? And I just filmed a trying new makeup video, like literally sort of the last thing I did. So I almost didn't do it. And then I was just like, you know, I know that a lot of you just want to hang out. Like you just like to hang out and it doesn't matter that I just filmed another trying new makeup video. And frankly, that's all I want right now too, is just hang out. It's kind of all that I have capacity for. I figured what better to do in these final moments than just sit down, open these boxes. And I'll also be using some of my kind of like recent favorite go-to makeup products that you've already seen. Let's just be together and not worry too much about it. If this is your first time to my channel, I don't know what to tell you. I feel like you already know what you're in for because I just explained it. I'm not even going to do the whole if you're new to my channel thing. Let's just go ahead and get into the meat of the video. So I did put on some brow makeup because it's just the refi. I was like, we might just be hanging out and not worrying about it. But even so, ain't nobody got time to sit around watching me do my brows again. So I just used the refi, the sculpt, the brow sculpt, and I used the pencil too. My brows are not even recently dyed. I dyed them like 10 days ago or something. They're still pretty dark from the dye. And so I only used a little bit of pencil to help them along, but nothing else. My skin has some skincare, some skin prep on it, but nothing else. And I don't think any of this PR is complexion. Just knocking things off the table. It's fine. I don't think any of this PR is complexion. So I'm just quickly gonna throw on, here's what I've been doing actually since we last talked. I'm back on the Auric Glow Lust train. I've been mixing it with my green color corrector, like as a base. And I've been mixing them like on my hands. Oh, you know what I've been doing actually? I've been throwing in some of this. It's really been these two, the Auric and L'Oreal Prime Lab. I still like the Givenchy, so I'm mixing in a little bit, but it's greener. The L'Oreal Prime Lab is like really green, so it really holds its own kind of in a mixture. This video is already chaos. It's a very glossy, healthy, and sort of semi-sheared out color correcting vibe that is for me a great base for the Natasha Denona concealers that I've been using because they're so serious. Like they're such serious makeup. As you know, I've been mixing RN1 and Y1, the pale yellow and the pale rosy neutral. Neither one of them is quite neutral enough to match me, but they're desaturated enough that when I mix them together, the mixture matches me. So just dotting on those two colors of concealer, blending them out with a pretty small brush, this Exa brush, so that I can kind of keep the different shades localized to different parts of my face. But you know, I put on little enough concealer that it's blending out to a pretty light coverage, evening out my skin tone, not fully concealing scars, but just making them less apparent. And I'm ending up with this nice light, almost serum-y level of coverage. I'm gonna powder just a tiny bit. I haven't really been doing that, but you know, here we are. Just around my marionette lines. Okay, there's the base. Let's see what we've got to work with. So this brand, Flight 0.70, sent me PR. I think, if I'm remembering correctly, they're really into like age diversity in makeup, like makeup that's designed to be really age versatile, basically. So there's this bronzer, which looks too dark for me, but is, you know, intriguing. A lip shaper, so like a shaping lip liner called Chiseled Lip. And they also included a refill for it, so it's refillable, which is cool. This says S&S Lip Sheer. We know I love a lip sheer. This packaging is nice and weighty, and it's that magnetic thing. I'm just gonna put this on right now. So this applies very easily and smoothly. I feel like the downfall of this type of product often is that it's too melty and too pigmented. So you start applying it and it just slides all over the place, like gets crushed into your face. And it's so pigmented that it's hard to correct for that. This totally avoids either of those issues. The pigment is there. This is a shade Rome. It's kind of like a brownish rose. The pigment is there, but it's light enough that it's effortless. And the bullet is staying kind of hard, like firm, even as it applies to my lips. Pretty impressive. And it looks great. I have other lip products here and I'm kind of reluctant to, take this off to try them, although I probably will for the sake of the video. But this is the kind of thing that I find eminently wearable. I'm like, that's it. I'm done. I've done my makeup. Make sure to take extra good care of yourself so that you can be the most effective version of yourself. No, just kidding. We'll go on. But this is totally realistically like a look that I would wear. Just the glowy base, brows, and a lip like this. So I got this box in the mail from RMS Beauty. They've launched a new product, the Redimension Hydra Dew Luminizer in Prosecco Fizz. So it's this formula, this powder formula from RMS that I believe has been really popular. And I think there's something about it. It's like, it's sort of a cream to powder type thing. The ultimate complexion enhancer combines the nourishing texture of a cream with a light reflective finish of a luminizing powder to enhance cheeks and face. But it just feels like a powder to me. I mean, I guess not a super dry powder. Okay. A creamy powder. I will give you that, Rosemary. And it is really pretty. They also sent me this product in some other colors, and this is the one that I like the most. Well, this is the blush. So I think that the complexion enhancer is something just a little bit different. This is the Redimension Hydra Powder Blush in Crystal Slipper. And I have used that a little bit. It's really pretty, but one day I wore it and at the end of the day, there were like flecks of glitter on my cheeks. I was surprised when I tried to figure out what it was from and I remembered that I had worn this. It can't have been from this. It absolutely can't have been from this. I take it back. There's no way that this ended me up with like big flecks of glitter. It must have been something else that I had put all over my face on that day. I'll try to report back, but no, I was going to accuse this of having left big chunks of glitter on my face, but it absolutely can't have been. I'll try to remember what it actually probably was. So they also sent me some of the eye lights, which are these, it's like a cream eyeshadow. Ooh, well that is extremely shiny. Ooh, I want to put that on. Let's put all of this stuff on my face. Maybe I'll pin back my hair just a little bit. Okay, let's do blush, then the highlighter, and maybe I'll put a little blush on my eyes as well. I feel like I remember Khaki being really excited about this formula when it first came out. I hope I'm not misremembering. I like it because it looks very natural, but it's also pigmented enough. I feel like every time I've worn this, I've gotten actually a pretty blush drapey or like blush centric look, but the flush that it gives is so natural. It's that combination of being able to build it up and get quite a blushy look, but without it starting to look too makeup-y. So I applied it all over the cheeks and eyes, and I tried to build it up quite a bit actually, so you can see what I'm talking about. It's built up and it does look, especially on my fair skin, pretty dramatic, but it still looks like it's coming from inside the skin, I guess, is the thing that I've been trying to express. Yeah, it's so pretty. I'm glad that I've determined that it can't possibly have been the glitter culprit. Not that I mind glitter, but there's just no way. There's nothing in it that indicates that it could have been that. Here's what I'm curious about. How is this Prosecco Fizz thing gonna go on top of this? Is it gonna do that thing, that metallic thing? I'm using the brush that came with this RMS Hydra Dew Luminizer. I'm gonna try to actually go kind of hard on one cheek and see what happens. It feels like it's not picking anything up. It's a very soft, it's like, it probably is and I just can't see it. Oh yeah, the brush definitely was picking up product. I actually think they might have designed this brush to be really, really loose and fluffy so that it would pick up just the right amount of product to really sheer it out over the skin. Because what it's doing is it is making my skin look extremely polished, but without obscuring what's underneath and without creating that sort of metallic coverage that this type of powder product can often create. So I've put put it all over this cheek and eye and on my nose as well, but not on the other side. You can see the difference. I'm impressed. I was actually expecting not to get along with this because I don't often get along with this kind of thing. It often is that like the metallic reflect is too dark, actually, too gold, you know? But this, it's actually sort of got a lot of different colors in it that make it blend with the blush. And again, I think this brush applied it sheerly enough that it really just made my skin look wet. I'm kind of into it. I tend to reach much more for creams these days than powders, so I won't be surprised if I end up overlooking this in favor of creams because of my preferences. But as powders go, usually when I put this much powder on my face of any kind, I feel more made up than I'm happy looking lately, and I don't feel that way right now. I like this. It's like a powder version of a cream cheek. Can I get the other side caught up? One thing I will say is that this brush is so feathery and floofy that it's kind of frustrating to work with. Like, it's not an enjoyable tool to work with. I would say, I don't know if they're sold together or if the brush is sold separately, but if the brush is sold separately and you're considering getting this and you're like, should I get the brush too? Even though I said that I think they designed it to be really floofy and feathery on purpose, I wouldn't recommend spending money for this brush. I would say use the brushes that you already have and just use a very light hand to try to get that sheer wash. Let's try this eyeshadow, this very shiny thing. So this is the shade Moon Dust. And you know, it works. Like, it's going on really easily. It's shiny. It's drying down completely. It's letting me blend it out the way I want to, and then it's drying down completely. It's definitely well designed, well formulated, doing what it's supposed to be doing. However, it's not making me like want to wear it again. You know what I mean? It's not gripping me with something. It's formula, it's packaging, it's color, it's finish, something like that. All of those are well designed. Like the formula, packaging, color, finish, all of that is good. You know, it's spot on. But none of those things is kind of gripping me by the lapels and being like, put me front and center on your vanity, wear me again. In a world full of things like the Auric Smoke Reflect or the Charlotte Tilbury pot version of this, the new Merit eyeshadows, you know what I mean? In a world full of intriguing cream shadows that do make me want to reach for them over and over again, this one isn't really standing out. But the cheek kind of is. Speaking of the Merit shadows, got my hands on some of the other colors. They had just sent 2 and they've sent some more. This is Brun, the brown. I haven't even opened it yet, but I really want to try it. I already reviewed this in my last trying new makeup video. Like, this is my last act before this was to discuss these on camera. I really like this release. So I'm not gonna put it all over my lids. I mean, I can't, but I'm gonna try to use it like as an accent in the outer corner and maybe along the lash line. It's a really pretty, yeah, it's a really pretty deep brown that blends out well. Let's just try it. So I'm going to use that same brush that I used in the other video, the Merit brush. See how well it plays with others. Okay, so I basically just went in with this as a cream liner on like the outer third of my eyelid. But then before it could dry completely, I buffed it out and blended it out. It does dry pretty quickly, this product, but not so fast, especially when you're using a brush, not so fast that you can't work with it. Yeah, it did exactly what I was hoping it would do. It gave me that nice sort of slightly defined lash line with a soft blend out into the outer corner. I'm gonna try to do something similar maybe on my lower lash line. Yes, this is what I wanted to find out from this Merit product. This isn't like the full eye application that I did last time. I wanted to find out if it would be effective at light eye looks, sort of like accent eye looks, like if I could manipulate it to just very slightly sculpt the eye. And the answer is yes. I mean, you can see the difference, right, between this eye with just a delicate addition of Merit and this eye without it. Let's get the other eye caught up. Unlike the RMS brush, I actually do kind of recommend the Merit brush. I feel like it's really well designed if you don't have something like this. If you don't have brushes like this and you're interested in this Merit eyeshadow, I think the brush is particularly well designed to manipulate the product. I wouldn't be mad if I had bought a Merit shadow if I'd also bought the brush, but I might kind of be mad if I'd bought this flimsy RMS brush. Okay, don't have anything new for mascara. I'm still playing with this Lancôme mascara and I'm just gonna do a really light application of it. Actually, a bunch of you in that video, the last trying new makeup video, when I opened this mascara and tried it for the first time, a bunch of you said it's like your holy grail. Like a lot of people in the comments were like, that's the only mascara that works for me. It's my top 2, or I always have it, or I've repurchased it a bunch of times. The Lancôme Idôle Lash, I guess. Who would have thought? I didn't know. I didn't know that it was such a cult classic. I can kind of see why though. And then there were a bunch of other people in the comments saying, how did you get it off your lashes? Because it's not waterproof. It's not advertised as waterproof, but apparently it's extremely long lasting and people find it difficult to remove. I have just been using a balm cleanser. I've been using the Drunk Elephant balm cleanser, but I've also been using muslin cloths when I wash my face, when I do the first cleanse, like the oil cleanse phase. And I think that that really helped me get this off of my lashes when I wore it before. I mean, I've worn it a couple times since then and I haven't had any problem, but it's because when I wash my eyes, when they have makeup on them these days, I've been putting a little bit of that Drunk Elephant cleanser onto my lids, massaging into my lashes with it, and then going with a damp muslin cloth. You know those like thin, fine muslin cloths? One of them I have because it came with like a Charlotte Tilbury product, cleansing product. I have another one because it came with the Eve Lom cleanser, but you can also just buy like muslin cloths. I'll try to find some that you can buy on their own and link them. And then I just gently use the damp muslin cloth to continue cleansing my eye area, and I didn't have any problem with it. I like them because they're very gently but very slightly exfoliating, I feel. Like to me, cleansing with a muslin cloth does what I feel like the Clarisonic used to do for me. Remember the old Clarisonic days? It just feels like because there's a slight exfoliating, it's really, really thorough, but it's not at all disturbing my skin. It's not actually like rough on my skin. Like it's gentle enough to do it every time I wash my face. It's gentler than slightly exfoliating products, for example, like physical exfoliants. And that is my answer to the question. How did you get that mascara off? But I didn't even know it was a question that needed to be asked because I didn't think twice about it. It wasn't difficult for me to remove using that technique. Okay, so this is a complete look. Before I remove it, I just have to say, have become fonder and fonder and more impressed, fonder and fonder of, and more impressed by the lip as this video is worn on. It hasn't budged. It looks and feels really natural. It's clearly beautifully designed, but I have to take it off because this indie brand, Unearthly Cosmetics, sent me some PR, a bunch of lip products. The owner of the brand reached out to me and said, I've been watching some of your videos. I'm really curious to know what you'll think of some of our lip colors specifically. And I was like, I mean, actually what I said was, I'm about to have a baby. I probably won't be able to review them anytime soon. And she was like, it's fine, no problem. But look at me now. Like I'm actually doing it. So the box arrived, I opened it, I was looking, and then I remembered that she had said, I want to know what you'll think of the lip products. So I looked them up. I was over here Googling Unearthly Cosmetics lipstick, and I quickly learned what she'd been talking about. These two colors, Eva and Diana. Wait until you see this. I mean, first of all, honestly, so nostalgic. These are liquid lipsticks, which isn't usually my jam, but my friends, Diana and Eva. So on top there is Eva, and on the bottom there is Diana, looking like a snack, looking like a dupe for Gucci, A Royal Scandal, actually, is what it looks like to me. I feel like I have to put them both on. I think I'm gonna like Diana better. I'm a little worried about what Eva will make of my teeth. Like, we'll see. But I'm gonna put them both on. Okay, so this is applying very elegantly. This is not your old school liquid lipstick. I believe that it dries down and is sturdy in the way of an old school liquid lipstick, but the formula is very, very, very lightweight, spreadable, thin, almost moussey, but not in that annoying slidey way that makes it feel like it's not gonna last. It's just so easy to paint on, so easy to control, and it was really easy to get a nice soft diffused lip line with the applicator. Like I didn't even have to go in with my finger and diffuse the lip line. I usually end up with a pretty asymmetrical lip line and really have to do a lot of blurring with like a lip brush or with my finger. And this, I mean, I just did it. I just applied it, I did it, and it came out shapely. We ended up with a shapely lip shape. The color, as it was going on, I was worried that it was gonna go orange on me because my skin has olive undertones, and so these like warm, mucky browns tend to veer sort of pumpkin-y on me. But I think that this brown actually has olive undertones, sort of. I think that it's mucky enough, it's like truly yucky enough that it has stayed sort of like neutral on me. And as long as I keep keep my mouth closed. It's a really cool, distinctive, grungy color. Definitely does not fall into any of the pitfalls that this type of color often does and makes it not work for me. However, and this isn't the color, it's my teeth. I do think, my teeth are looking a little gray these days compared to usual because I will deploy the occasional crest white strip. I'm not over here like constantly whitening my teeth, but in my usual everyday life, just every once in a while I'll use one to kind of keep my teeth a little whiter. And, you know, I haven't used anything like that for the past 9 months. So my teeth have just gotten a little dingier than they used to be. And yeah, I think maybe this color isn't showing them to their best advantage, but it's not as bad as I worried it would be. I'd wear it. I'd wear it to something. I'd wear it out. I'd wear it out and about. It's definitely something completely different from what we had on before. And it's totally drying down. I'm getting a little transfer right now, but I put on a couple layers and I feel as though if I let it keep drying, we would eventually get to that point where I was getting either very little transfer, no or none. I mean, I think even though I got some on the back of my hand just now, it's still a perfect application on my lips, which is what matters. Like it didn't really blot it. How intriguing. I forgot to say when I was applying Eva, the first one, that this product has a really distinctive smell that fades pretty quickly. That's why I forgot to mention it. But when you're applying it, when it's wet, it's pretty distinctive. I think it might be melon candy. It smells like some sort of melon candy. It's a familiar smell and maybe I haven't quite nailed it and maybe someone in the comments can say what it actually truly is. But I feel like melon flavor, sweet melon or melon candy isn't too far off the mark. So there's Diana. It is much vampier than I expected it to be based on how it looks in the tube. I was thinking, based on how it looked on the swatch, I was thinking it was pretty close to a Royal Scandal, but a Royal Scandal, I don't even have to compare it to know that this is a lot more gray and maybe even a touch of purple compared to a Royal Scandal, which has more brown in it. Once again, the true neutrality of it really impresses me. Like, it's not pulling any weird direction because of my skin. If anything, it's just pulling way more neutral than I expected it to based on how it looked when I first pulled the wand out of the tube. The thing it reminds me the most of is NYX's Moonwalk, which I swatched in that video where I was trying to find a dupe for Gone Greige. So I also think this is going to be darker and a bit more purple than the actual Gone Greige. It makes me want to blot it. Yeah, that is really my speed. I really, really love the way that that looks. And it's a testament to the formula that it stayed malleable enough to let me blot it. But I have a feeling that now this level of application, like it let me blot it down to the point where it was a little fainter, a little more blurry kind of on my lips. But I feel like this level of application is now going to dry and be pretty sturdy, like just as sturdy as a full pigment application would have been. This is really the vibe for me. This is one of my favorite lip colors to wear, like this level of pigment, this level of contrast with my skin, this level of grunge. And yeah, these aren't products I would have thought to buy myself, again, because I don't tend to wear liquid lipsticks like this very much, like matte liquid lipsticks, but I have experimented enough with them to know that this is a really good version of that kind of thing. It's a really good formula. And these aren't the only intriguing colors in the range. These are just the two that align with that sort of elusive, grungy weirdness that I'm always looking for. So if you are into liquid lipsticks and you are into unusual colors, maybe a good one to know about. And that's going to be it. We did it. We hung out. We investigated these PR boxes. Thanks to Flight, RMS, and Unearthly for sending along some stuff for me to dig into. And I hope that this was fun. I hope you enjoyed hanging out. As always, I really appreciate you for being here, for spending this time with me. And as always, I really hope that you are taking extra good care of yourself so that you can be the most effective version of yourself as you do your work in the world.